Is Mount Sinai, the mountain of God, real? Why hasn't mainstream archaeology taken Mount Sinai seriously? Because for 1500 years we've been looking at the wrong place. St. Catherine's Monastery, the alleged Mount Sinai site, has no archaeologic evidence to support it. But just 300 kilometers to the east is Jabal el-Lawz, which is potentially the real Mount Sinai. Not only does this mountain appear to have been burned by some kind of heat that melts rocks, it is surrounded by geologic and archaeologic evidence that supports the biblical narrative of the Exodus. Following the path out of Egypt that Moses and the Jewish people could have taken, the Exodus trail begins at the Gulf of Aqaba, where the Israelites were stuck between a rock and a hard place. Technically, rocks in a wet place. On one side, a mountain with the only entry blocked off by the Pharaoh's army, and the other side, the Red Sea. Imaging of the sea floor at the crossing point shows a traversable and gradual decline into the sea. Not a land bridge, but also not a cliff that they couldn't navigate. And in antiquity, this site was known to be the crossing point. The Jewish king Solomon erected markers on both sides of the sea at this crossing point. One of them still exists to this day. After the Red Sea, the Jewish people camped at the Palms of Elim.
And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees.
After Elim was the miracle at the rock in Horeb.
Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink.
Here's what we would want to see to validate that it's the real rock at Horeb. It would need to be identifiable, near Mount Sinai, and have evidence that water flowed from it. This rock is massive. It sits atop a hill and sticks out like a sore thumb. And even though this is a desert climate, there are clear signs of erosion, and it looks like the water source came from the rock. Next stop, the altar to the golden calf. Imagine this. They had just seen God split the Red Sea and then split the rock at Horeb. Now they're watching Moses on Mount Sinai that's on fire. And what do they do to celebrate? They build an altar to a golden calf and party. At the base of Mount Sinai is an altar made of rock, and it appears to have been erected as an altar to the golden calf. There's even what appears to be Egyptian hieroglyphics of a calf inscribed on the rocks that make up the altar. And now we get to the actual mountain itself. From the base of the mountain you can see the charred rock at the peak of the mountain, and upon closer inspection, the rocks appear to be melted. What would cause rocks on the top of a mountain to melt? Is it possible that it was the presence of God that did this to these rocks? Can you imagine?
Moses, Moses, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.